pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry, I should have checked before we're good. We're live. Looks like red. Yes. Good. All right, so I'll go ahead and recognize that we have a quorum this evening. We have Ray present, Amy present, Scott present, and myself present, and Chris is out this evening. So we will go ahead and if I can get a motion for approving the agenda as is, please say aye.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I gotta get my mind on the right track, sorry, please.
Make a
Scott.
motion to approve the agenda as written.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Any discussions on the agenda? All right, all those in favor for approving the agenda for this evening, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, and we have, this is our time we open it up to audience for agenda items. We go back to non-agenda items at the end of the meeting. Nothing. Okay. All right, so our routine matters, B1 is the regular minutes from our last meeting and our work session on November 17th of 2025. If I get a motion for approving those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting and the work session of November 17th.
I'll second.
Any discussions, comments on those minutes? All right. All those in favor for approving the minutes of our regular meeting and work session on November 17th, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. B2 is our vouchers and financial reports. And I can get a motion for approving those for the month.
I'll make a motion to approve this month's vouchers and financial reports.
I'll second.
Okay. And any,
Nothing to point out, no,
Okay.
just all normal
Just
stuff.
normal. All right, so all those in favor for approving the total vouchers of $2,469,346.16, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, so we will move on to our communications. Donations for BC First. There are several here. Girls Wrestling had a donation for uniforms for $5,045.05, and then $400 FFA. The Boys Wrestling had a donation of $500. CAP had a donation of $500. The class of 27 of $216. Athletics Department had a $1,000 donation, and I'm not actually sure it's like at the Samba Club of some sort.
Is that
VICA, Bica Bison.
That's the auto shop.
Auto shop, okay, all right. And the auto shop had a donation of $100.75. Prairie's donation was applying to the student accounts that had negative balance, and that was $300. And the Audubon Elementary Student Activity Fund had a $100 donation as well. So we greatly appreciate all of the donations that come through each month.
Just for clarification, that VICA stands for Vocational and Industrial Clubs of America.
Okay.
It's like a lesser known version of FFA, but it includes all the trades, masonry and construction trades and everything encompasses into that. And that fund was just labeled that well before I started
Okay.
years ago.
No, I hadn't seen it come through that way. Okay. Thanks for clarifying that. Glad there's somebody here that knew. All right, so we had C2 as our fundraiser update, and we didn't really have a whole lot for as far as current activity going on for fundraisers, except I think the varsity, JV and varsity cheer have a camp that happens in January. So, but as far as everything else, I think those are things that are, there's some things on the screen here, but those are things that should be ending or have ended. If I that sound about right? Yeah. Okay. Then we will move on to our principal report. And Corey, you have visitors?
Yes, I'm privileged this evening to have Mrs. Watt and Mrs. Rhodes here this evening, who are going to talk to you about the ever-moving target from the state. I am privileged to work with them each day, and they are extremely knowledgeable. Without further ado, I'm going to shut up.
We're going to share, we just made folders for you guys because it's the easiest, with the new diploma, it's the easiest way to kind of understand all the new components of it. So we're going to walk you through it.
I need all the help I can get.
I was gonna say several of you have freshmen that are.
I had it all figured out, and they changed it.
So we've got several things in here. I'm not trying to overwhelm you, but just trying to, I guess, educate as best we can. So the first part of your packet is the basics of the diploma. So I won't walk you through like everything, but like English is the same. However, they are now requiring a speech credit for students, so we are fortunate that we are been able to turn one of our semesters of English 10 into a speech class, and it is dual credit through Ivy Tech. For math, nothing has changed from the core 40 except for they are adding a personal finance requirement. We are hoping to kind of pair that with econ as students get into that upper level. We feel like the personal finance is probably more useful for them as they're older rather than trying to shove it into a junior high or an early high school type of class. Science and technology, still the biology, chemistry type classes, but they have added a 1 semester computer science class that we have added in the 8th grade year. Social studies, they kind of reduced that a bit. PE and health, they've reduced that, just 1 semester of PE rather than 2. Personalized electives, and then they are now requiring preparing for college and careers, which we are teaching at the 8th grade level as well. That is the basics. Then on the back, you'll see there are all different kinds of seals that students, the back of, this first page. All different kinds of seals that students can get depending on whether they're going into college. They would be looking at the enrollment seal. If they're looking at going straight into the workforce, the employment seal. And then going into either public service or the military, we'll be looking at the enlistment seal. And there are an honors seal and an honors plus. The state is kind of redoing how they're going to do funding now. So only the plus seals will be getting any kind of money start when these new diplomas come into full force. So no longer do we have the academic honors, the technical honors that give us money. We have to look specifically at the honors plus seals on each of those. Employment and enrollment will both give us just under $2,500 at $2,495. The enlistment seal will give us $873 per student. And then the Indiana College Core, which is, we came and talked with you last spring about this. It's the group of 30 college credits that students can get across like 6 different areas. That will give us just under $1,500 per student. So that is where we are going to need to be focusing our time, is working with students to try and help them get to that level. Enrollment honors plus seal, that is guaranteed. The state says that guaranteed admission to an Indiana public school. So if they meet all the requirements of the enrollment honors plus, so the honors and the honors plus information here, they are guaranteed enrollment to any Indiana public college or university. Not necessarily the major of their choice. Not going to get probably guaranteed admission into Purdue engineering, but it is guaranteed admission to Purdue, and then they can try to code it in or whatever, transfer into some of those programs if they should want to. So there is a lot of moving parts. As you can see, all of these different requirements take a lot of tracking for each of us, and we've included copies of how we track that. These are our credit tracking forms that we have, one for each individual student we share with them, and if they have a teacher of record, we share as well. And every semester we go in and manually update this because this does not talk with Harmony. So this is something that we go in and update every semester once grades are posted. And so students, and if the students share it with their parents, can see as up to date as possible as to how they are doing towards, how they're working and progressing towards their diploma. So that is one of the things we get to keep track of, and Kyra's gonna move on to the next.
Do you guys have any questions about the diploma piece? So the next thing we're going to talk about are credentials of value. And so credentials of value are required for students to complete if they are going to complete the honors plus seal. So the diplomas that are funded require credentials of value. So looking at the list, these two lists here, you can see at the top that one is for one is for enrollment and one is for employment. A credential value must meet a final credential score to count towards a diploma. So each of these lists has a column on the right-hand side, so each COV is given a point score, and at the top of these documents, it lists what those point score or point totals have to be to count towards each diploma. So we have kind of done a preliminary run through of what we think that we could offer at Benton Central, what those point scores would be, what those totals would be, and how we can offer those out to students with our teachers. These lists, or these scores and these lists, are determined annually by the Commission for Higher Education, CHE, and they are determined by the employment demand in our region, and if a student will be able to earn a living wage. The priority is placed on if a student can earn a living wage. So this list is for the current freshman class of 2029. So each cohort will have a new list. So the list will change every year. So these are 14 pages and 5 pages. Yeah.
Point values will change, credentials could change. It will be kind of a moving target.
Yeah. Most of the COVs that Benton Central can offer will be through Ivy Tech and will be dual credits. So will require us to continue with that piece and partnering with Ivy Tech. I think all of them actually right now that's what we've identified as what's going to have to work.
I think there were a couple of, through the employment, maybe a couple of Mr. Whiteloff's end of course assessment things through Project Lead the Way I think might qualify, but I don't think they're enough on their own.
They're not enough on their own, yeah. The second kind of set of documents I gave you with that paperclip stack is what Ivy Tech gives us as the list that we have to go through and sort through to determine what courses to offer and what our students will need to earn each different credential. So the first one on top is the Indiana College Core, which you guys have had the presentation on. This is most likely what students on the enrollment honors plus seal will get. If they're going for that box of 30 core college credits, then that will count towards the enrollment, and hopefully we can knock it out that way and get a large group of students that way. The second one is an example of the ag seal. This is only applicable to the employment honors seal, and it has to be combined. So seals might not need an individual score, but if we can combine them and they're in the same career pathway, then we can count that though. We just have to make sure that we can keep track of all that bundle and keep track of the score, their college credit, and their high school credits as well. And then the last one is an example of a design technology. This is our engineering class, which we do offer a lot of the classes currently for dual credit. We just have to work with Ivy Tech and Mr. Whiteloff to see if these last two courses are even applicable to his classes, to see if he can offer them in the classroom. They are on the dual credit crosswalk. He's likely able to teach them, but it just depends on if they're applicable to what he is teaching his students and what he can do. So it's all kind of figuring out what will work with our teachers and our students and what we can track and offer.
And I guess I will say with this also is, since these are going through Ivy Tech, we have to kind of count on Ivy Tech to help us with these as well. So sometimes we think we've got everything on our end, and we're keeping track on our end, but we have to also make sure that when we work with our college connection coach, that everything is being seen the same way on their end, because we don't have access to that side of things.
The other thing is credentials of value will also play into our 12th grade accountability score. So our overall school score, the credentials of value, that's another point as well, whether students get that or not. So
Success
it
indicator.
success indicator, yes. So it is a priority, just a lot to track. So, and okay, the next, any questions on COVs, credentials of value?
I don't really have a question on COVs necessarily, except with the Ivy Tech component. Has there been changes to like the teacher prerequisites or whatever to become a dual credit teacher? Is there?
Yes,
and
yeah.
That becomes a struggle.
It could,
So
it could.
It's supposed to be ending, but
Okay,
we're still,
battling that.
we're just still pushing through and no one has ended. The teachers that are supposed to be ended, so we're going through, so.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, teachers are supposed to have a master's degree with so many credits in their
Content
area. We have been able for the past 15, I mean, I'm not sure how, as long as we've been doing this, I think, been able to have teachers sign a plan saying that they are agreeing to be working towards getting their master's. And that has been able to be extended for years and years and years and years. They said that this year was supposed to be the last one that they could do that. We have, we're hoping that they continue to expand it, but if it isn't, then we could be in a world of hurt, I think, with our dual credit.
We would lose two significant ones. We would lose probably foreign language and speech, and that would be that would hurt a lot. So, yeah, we wouldn't be able to offer Indiana College Core. We'd have to
Without the speech, yeah.
Students would have to pay on their own and do it separately. So, okay, next one is
Work-based learning, okay.
another
So,
component.
on the honors plus seals, and I guess with the employment just honors seal, they do require some work-based learning for students. For the enrollment honors plus seal, they need 75 hours of documented work-based learning. It can be in multiple experiences, but no more than 3, and each one has to be at least 25 hours. For the employment honor seal, it's 150 hours. For the honors plus seal, once again, that one that will pay us, the honors plus seal for employment, needs 650 work-based learning hours. So that is something that will get to be tracked. We do have with our internship program, we have students who are getting hours that way, but not all of our students do internships and don't have room for them. It's not possible for Ashley to have every senior or every kid in the high school to
Have their own transportation.
yeah, and have their own transportation. So we are working to embed some work-based learning hours within our classes and things like that. But each experience has to have a training plan. And that is what we have. We have attached 2 training plans, examples of training plans from the state. You'll notice that they are lengthy. They require multiple signatures for every student. Parent, student, employer, or the person who is supervising, and the teacher typically. So that is something that we are going to have to try to figure out how we can make that work. These will be have to be entered on the Enters report, which is the report we send to the state regarding all of our current tech ed coursework, how many credits students are earning and everything like that. That's how our Perkins money comes in, but that's how we will report this. And we're kind of, we're trying to work, how are we tracking these hours? How are we tracking summer hours when students aren't necessarily in their internships but are working summer jobs? How are we getting these taken care of so that we can enter those in Enters over the summer? Training agreements, how are we getting all these signed? Who's establishing all these partnerships? All of that kind of thing. So those are things that we are trying to work through and plan, because we know that this year's freshman class is the one that is starting with this, and some of them may be in some classes that have some work-based learning already, or getting a summer job this coming summer, things like that we need to kind of figure out how all of that can be manageable.
the state marketed this as, students can mow in the summer and count those hours as work-based learning, but then they later came out and said they have to have these training plans. Well, then if they're mowing on their own using their, personal mower, then who is the training partner and the employer supervising that? We gave an example with the director of CTE, in the work-based learning program of a student locally who has a lemon shake-up stand and does that in the community at the fair, at Dan Patch Days, etc., and asked, those hours that she has done, would that be applicable? And, he kind of even questioned that, and we asked who would the partner be, because she's doing her own marketing and doing her own thing, and there's just not a lot of guidance on these training plans. So the training plan is going to be the difficult piece to get the multiple signatures, but the work-based learning hours also play into the accountability for the school as well for 12th grade. So it's another success factor. So we'll have to figure that out too. Yeah.
Do you have, because it's the 9th grade, do you have a percentage of students who are in this path that in your head that you know?
No. We will probably in January, we will start figuring that piece out.
Seeing how grades look and seeing who. We asked them all last spring when they were scheduling what diploma they wanted to, because we went through this. I'm not sure that students gave it a ton of thoughts as to what, so I don't know how much I trust those. We kind of want to wait and see what grades look like this to make sure that those who said they were interested in that are not sitting at 3 Ds and an F or something like that won't work.
We didn't have COBs and stuff like that either then as well. Another piece is that, which we have talked about, and they haven't opted in yet, but any cohort can opt in early to this. And so we've also talked about when schools like Carmel and Fishers and those larger schools outside in Indianapolis area, once they start opting into the Honors Enrollment Plus diploma, we have no idea if that is going to take spots for our students that automatic enrollment. Will that take spots for Benton Central students if we're not opting our students in as well? So we need to have a plan for our students to get the 75 hours now, so that if that would happen, then our students have that fair option to get admitted as well, because I don't know.
Right. There's only so many
Admission
spots, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Hopefully they're preparing as well.
When we met with Purdue and IU this fall, they still seemed pretty naive about it, maybe is a word to say. They are uneducated. Yes, we're doing this, but we're not exactly sure how this is all going to play out as time goes on. They know that, for this year's senior class, the number that opted in were minimal. I think we only have one student that is opting in at the senior year. I think we have a few more that are interested, the coming years. But it's going to just depend on how that all kind of plays out, and I think how even more competitive maybe some of those spots then can be at IU, Purdue, some of those bigger schools.
Maybe they figure it'll just go away.
Probably, once we figure it out. It will.
The cycle. That's kind of what scares me, is once we get this figured out,
That's huge influx. It could be a huge influx.
Yeah. Yes.
So the next part is accountability. I know you guys talked about this a little bit last month, but we feel like this is something that we also need to bring up because it is going to impact scheduling and things like that. So this is what the state has as their draft right now for accountability. It is still, I think they're still taking public comment for another week or couple weeks maybe, I think. And then they're hoping at the January Department of Education or School Board, State Board of Education meeting that they will be able to vote and finalize this, is my understanding of the timeline. But there are, once again, a lot of moving parts with this. Making sure that, students can be either above expectation, at expectation, approaching, or below expectations. Above expectations, they must have, at the ninth grade, after the ninth grade year, at the end of ninth grade, students must have completed at least 14 high school credits total. We are fortunate that we have some credits that are given in junior high, so we have a little bit of built in there for a lot of our students. But it must include both credits in English, the 2 credits in math, and the 2 credits in either a science, social studies, or foreign language, or combination. So, you know, a student that fails a semester of English 9, you know, if we don't have them remediate that at the end of summer school by the end of their ninth grade year, then they are automatically dropped down to, at the best, approaching expectations. They're not even at expectation. They fall 2 slots down to the approaching. So at expectation is 10 high school credits, but less than 14, and it has to still be the 2 English, the 2 math, and the 2 science, social studies, or language, or combination thereof. Approaching expectations, completing at least 8 high school credits, and below is completing less than 8 high school credits. And then we have the success factors, attendance. Right now it is set, they have it set at like a 94%, either in 9th or 10th grade. That can be a success factor. Meeting college-ready benchmarks on the PSAT and MSQT, which we give all students in 10th grade. For EL students, scoring at a expected growth level on the WIDA, passing the biology ECA for all of our students, completing 2 credits of career or college coursework with a grade or C or higher, completing 2 non-duplicative advanced CTE courses with a C average, or for those students designated at below expectations in the 9th grade, if they can get to 20 credits by the end of grade 12 and have their 4 credits in English, 4 credits in math, and 4 credits in either science, social studies, or foreign language, they can get some success factors there. This, once again, while it is great that we are looking at the individual student rather than everybody as a whole, the tracking of this could get quite interesting as well. I'll let Kyra talk a little bit about the seniors then.
12th grade, for the key outcomes, I think it's important to note that the diplomas that are either at expectation or above expectation are only the diplomas that are on the back of that document. The Indiana diploma is an approaching expectation diploma, so I think that they're wanting us to push students for the either honors or honors plus seal. That's the goal. And they've said we have flexibility to do that, so that is what, you know, I think the approach we're taking as well is that every student should be either on the honors seal or the honors plus seal for graduation as well. The success factors, some of them are the same. We mentioned the credential of value, the 150 hours of work-based learning, and more benchmarks regarding you know, passing the biology ECA, meeting college board benchmarks, attendance benchmarks, etc. So it's similar to the 10th grade ones as well.
There you go.
Get that grade next fall.
Yes, that comes out in the fall. So
Yeah, with us not even really being able to help students schedule to meet, like, obviously we're helping kids schedule to graduate, but, you know, sometimes if we have a student that, you know, did not pass either semester of algebra, they traditionally had been in the core 40, which needed Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2. You know, we would maybe have them just retake algebra their sophomore year and then do Geometry junior and Algebra 2 senior. Well, if we continue to think that way, we are putting those kids automatically at an approaching proficiency at best, if not below proficiency or below expectations. So where, you know, I think we are going to have some discussions here about how we are going to schedule moving forward, how we're going to use Apex, how we are going to have students double up, or, you know, summer school is hard for kids. They work, they live out in the country, can't get into town to catch a bus, you know, those kind of things. So they're, you know, summer school is just not an option for everybody because there are some barriers that way as well.
You guys have any comments? Or I have a couple. you guys have any words of wisdom as to how to track all this? I will take that too,
That's what
because
my question was, so I had a couple things. I think it is gonna be challenging to simplify this for parents because there's so many, and it depends on what that student
Mhm.
is interested in, but it also depends on whether they're passing or if they need to go into another one. So I think it used to be, here's the diploma and you give it to them and then the parents help, but this is difficult. So, I don't have a solution yet, but I'm just telling you it's difficult. And then back in the day it was you need 40 credits, period. And now it is all of these moving pieces. So I know you have talked about the difficulty in tracking. Have you heard from any other schools, because I equate this to the TAG grant, all we do is talk to the other schools to say what we're gonna do, and there's just not a lot of answers. Is it like one point of contact? Is one person designated? Are schools thinking about getting a secretary? Who tracks this stuff? And did you say it doesn't fit in Harmony, or is there software to?
We have, Harmony does have a 4-year plan embedded in it, but it's, issues that we have found is, an advanced life science ag class. It can be a CTE, it can be a CTE course that helps them with their CTE pathway, or for some students, they use it as a science course. We can't label it
Can't
both
code it as
ways. You can't code it both ways. So if you code it one way as a science course, then it looks like when they're completing their CTE pathway, it looks like they're a class short. If you code it as a CTE course, and they use that as a science credit, then it looks like they're a science credit short. So Harmony, you can put stuff in there. That is why we use those credit tracking forms that I attached to that first packet. It does take time on our part hours on our part every semester to hand enter all of that stuff in for every student, but it is the best way that I feel like with some of our,
accurate.
It could be this or it could be this. I feel like that's the best way for us to track it.
So this would be every semester taking the time to track
Mhm.
all of these different things that
Mhm.
can happen. And sometimes there's a plus, I'm thinking about the dashboard too, because we talked about that last month, that you can get bonus points or whatever, but you can also be taken down if you're not on track.
And that's where, we haven't even started figuring out how to track
Because
the
it affects that,
accountability.
it affects our.
Yeah, we haven't even started to figure out how to
I
track
assume
that.
a lot of that would be in data exchange, but I don't know that for sure,
Yeah.
because I don't know enough about data exchange.
And
Some schools have indicated that the system that we use for our
evaluations.
standards for success, they have a graduation component, which we did have that piece, graduation tracking component, we did have that, but it does not talk with Harmony, it only talks with Power School. And we had gone back and forth with Robbie Grimes multiple times, and basically it's not going to talk with Harmony, it will not talk with Harmony, it talks with Power School. The schools that have Power School say it works wonderfully, but basically if we were to use that, then we would have to enter everything in Harmony, because that is where our state reports are pulled from, and that's where it has to be. But then we would also have to double enter everything into Standards for Success. So we're just entering it multiple times, so.
And I assume that this conversation comes up all the time with fellow counselors from other schools.
Yeah, I think everybody right now is kind of deer in the headlights a little bit with all of these credentials of value, and I am not sure, I would guess even just this semester, we've been on,
I've been to 5.
I think I've listened to a couple lectures, but I've had 10 webinars maybe that I have watched or gone to a meeting about or something like that, talking about these new diplomas, and depending on who's presenting, you can get little nuanced different answers as to how to track or what that specific thing means. I mean, even on this first thing with the diploma, it says, for science, it says on the back on the honor seal, it says complete at least 6 science credits, biology 1 plus chemistry and physics, or any advanced lab science credits aligned to their course of study.
Okay, that's what the state has put out on their little one page, like this little thing that they do. However, if you read the law, it says 2 credits from biology, 2 credits from chemistry, and then 2 credits from physics or any other lab science. So like even what they are putting out is not, I don't think, written super clearly
It's not
to make it,
correctly.
like, so that parents and school employees know exactly what they are looking at. So yeah, we've even had to go back and reference the actual text of the law to double check some things.
It's the same with the COVs. Business administration with marketing is a technical certificate that we could offer our teachers dual credit. She does marketing, she does business, she's great, does a wonderful job. So we're asking our K-14 director, she's not sure, so she asked the dean of the school, the business school at Ivy Tech. It's not even a real technical certificate. It's on the COV list. They're not sure how it got on there. It's not a real thing. So it's just a lot of time spent looking all of these up then to, is this the correct one? Is this the incorrect one? Like, are we gonna send kids down this pathway to complete this, but then it not be the one that actually counts or is not even a real one? So, yeah. I have asked them multiple times if they would link the actual correct credential. So they said maybe in January.
Shall see.
So how successful are you in getting freshmen to visualize where they want to be in 4 years?
Well, we're
It's like
supposed to start with
herding cats.
7th graders. We're supposed to do 7th graders is where we're.
As successful
Yeah.
as we've always been.
How many people change majors in college? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking 6 years early.
Yeah.
I mean, with all this, I don't even know if this is what I want to do anymore. What do I want to do when I grow up?
Do you guys have a solid resource for questions? Can you call somebody that actually knows the answer?
We have people that I feel like we trust more than others.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, that we trust more than others, but, you know, they continue to say, you know, this is what it is, like credentials and
Today,
values,
this
this is
one
what
is
it is
today.
right, what it is right now. This is how it's being interpreted right now. You know, credentials of value, this is the credential of value for the 9th graders, you know, and the class of, what was it, so they're the class of 30?
29.
29, yeah. So, you know, this is for the class of 29, but if it changes for the class of 30, then we can still, if they started off with one list, we can still use that list, which is good in some ways, but then it means we're working off of potentially 4 different lists for 4 different grades.
Is there any type of survey or like in the past, like with the companies that I've worked with, like a disc profile that kind of gives them some sort of guidance on where to go or what they should do with their future career path?
The students.
Yeah, like in 7th and 8th grade, just a general survey like that kind of,
And preparing
because they
for
don't
college
know, I mean,
careers.
we don't
Yeah.
know, like
That's
you
kinda
just
what
said,
they-
I mean,
Yeah.
you even get to college and you change majors 2 or 3 times before you, but at least it kind of, for their personality, if you take some
Yeah.
survey, it kind of gives you an indication whether, hey, your best fit is gonna be working in a factory, or, hey, you show signs of intelligence, that you're on the, 4-year master potential, or,
Yeah.
yeah.
they
I don't know if they have that or
They
not.
They
that.
do in preparing for college and careers.
Yeah.
I think they get a
It's
lot of.
quite that clear, but.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
it's all, yeah,
they're eighth
And they're
graders.
8th graders
Oh,
who are
and
taking
They're
it, so.
prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
Owen said he was gonna be a sniper
Right.
or CIA agent.
and then it comes back and tells them, hey, you should
Or
work
a
in the
bartender.
FBI, what? I
Yeah.
don't want to.
Yeah, it's a little alarming to me that they can say, I don't wanna go to college and do this, and then they can be a couple years into it, and then they're too late, and they can't switch to a different path.
Can't try to do
And that worries me.
It's crazy.
And that is one thing, we believe that there is somewhere that every time a student like, we have to document and date every time a student, okay, I wanna, like, they come in their freshman year, I wanna do the honors, plus enrollment seal. And then they come back like, you know what, I only wanna do the enrollment honors, I don't wanna do the plus. We are supposed to go in and document that every time a student changes their mind, because the state is supposedly going to track.
And right now, that is what you're saying is manual until there's some kind of
That will be manual.
I think that'll just be,
Like
yeah,
a
that's gotta
document,
go,
like
to
a
go,
log of.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we've
I-
talked
I
about
don't-
having them sign like if they sign up as a freshman to do a particular diploma, we've talked about having them sign something that says, realize when you were in ninth grade, you said you wanted to do the employment seal.
Because you wouldn't be taking, foreign language to be in, or you wouldn't be taking the math path to be eligible for a four-year school, so.
Is it just student or parent and student?
Parent
Ideally, I
and-
think it should be both.
Yeah,
But then that's collecting two
Yeah.
more signatures.
yeah, which is fine.
Like, along with their training plans and along with.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
training plan, you gotta get all those other signatures.
There's lots of
Electronically made.
questions, but the administrative piece is huge on roles and responsibilities.
Terribly huge, yeah.
Yes,
Well, it's very manual.
I've been a school counselor for 9-10 years, and I've only had one school year where the entire 9 through 12 was on the same diploma. So maybe it won't last. Who knows?
And
One
there's a
school
good
year.
chance of that.
One school year, so.
Holy cow, jeez.
So,
Well, we look forward to an update.
We do too. We do too.
Wow, we could potentially see the, the not getting funding at the end of this school year
No,
for the
the-
29 kids, 2029.
No.
this won't come into play until they actually graduate.
Yes.
Okay, so 4 years.
So like the academic honors funding will still be eligible
Okay.
until
I
those
think we
kids
should
phase
say
out.
as of right now,
Yeah.
because they could change that at the next legislative session.
But the accountability
Want us to.
will
For
happen
the grade, yeah, for
for
every school grade.
10th grade
Yeah.
will happen this year, yeah.
And I will say for students able to get the technical honors and the academic honors, which is what we've known for all of these years prior, is, I think, does not have as many hoops as now the honors plus seals do. There wasn't the work-based learning that was involved with it, there, some of that kind of stuff, this, the credentials of value, so, it has, I think we will see those numbers potentially drop some, especially because the enrollment honors, that's the basics, should get them into, a lot of colleges. It's, that plus part where they have to have work-based learning and credential of value and things like that, I think that's where we can lose some kids, and, because we have kids right now that get an academic honors diploma, but they don't get the Indiana College Core, because they wanna go into engineering, they've taken physics, physics is a dual credit, so, they still get their 6 science credits, they still get all the stuff they need for the academic honors, we get that money, but now, looking forward to the freshman class, that kind of situation would not get any funding because they wouldn't have that dual credit science piece that meets with the Indiana College Core, unless they do some other kind of COV on here to do that. So I think we could see those numbers drop. So we're going to encourage, but
Thank you for the update.
Merry
Plugging
Christmas.
away. And you do not need to stick around for the
Thanks.
welcome now.
You
Thanks
guys
for
are
trying to navigate through all of this and.
you guys come up with questions and stuff, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll answer as best we can, but it might be and we're not sure kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Hey, you have more answers than the beginning of the school year, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And people wonder why homeschooling is increasing.
All right, our curriculum update, you didn't have anything, Cory, you didn't, yep, make sure you didn't have anything else to add. All right, Mrs. Fisher?
Well, I will be very brief, but I do come bearing good news. So, I also would encourage you to, the window for commenting on this is still open.
Yeah, I wonder.
And so, even comments like, is it fair that our students have to make these decisions that lock them in? I mean, when you go into a classroom of 8th grade students, a lot of them have ideas that they change in just a year or two, so I know, but, and the fact that, here's another very cumbersome, unfunded mandate for small schools to manage, so I would encourage you to comment on that. So what I'm bringing today, I just wanted to show you, this was a comparison that was created and just focusing on growth for the last 5 years with comparing iLearn and the SAT. And you'll notice at the bottom, this analysis used data focused on these peer groups. Districts with similar economically disadvantaged populations, districts in the Wabash Valley education, so our area in the state, other districts in Indiana, and our school corporation. And so how did our proficiency shift year over year? We looked at growth in ELA, growing by 6%, science growing by 5%. How does BCSC's proficiency compare to their socioeconomic group? Last year, we outperformed by 10% in ELA, outperformed by 21% in math, science outperformed by 12%, and social studies outperformed by 5%. So good news.
And that was against our neighbors, so to speak, our
Yes.
people of our similar.
Socioeconomic groups, other schools that shared
Yes,
are
okay.
between 50 and 60% economically
Okay.
disadvantaged. Which grade saw the most year-over-year growth? That was ELA, third grade, growing by 43% in ELA, 35% in math for third grade, and then grade 4 science grew by 14%. So good news that we are seeing the movement from the efforts that we're making as far as the high quality curricular materials, the professional development, the turn away from COVID years to just get things moving in the right direction. Now that doesn't mean that we don't have goals. We are looking to improve with math growth especially. And it's not that we're in big trouble, but we're not showing progress the way that we would like to. And some of the things that are going to happen next year, there'll be math screening, much like reading screening that we already have. That will start taking place, and so we'll be focused in on those interventions a little more for early learners. But we are celebrating today. We have 100% of our students and teachers using K-5 using CKLA, which is our new reading program, and moving through units and making progress. Our 6th grade ELA program, and then our new curricular materials, current curricular materials are being put into place and used. Looking ahead, we have our Benton Community Teacher Collaboration Days next semester, January 19th, February 9th, and April 6th. And the focus this semester, we're doing our continued curriculum mapping and bringing in instructional supports for all. At Benton Central, we're taking some time to look at AI and the way that our teachers can use AI. We're having a visitor from Rensselaer High School come and talk with us a little more about Conmigo, which is a program that Rensselaer's put into place. We had some teachers visit the Purdue AI workshop, and so they brought back lots of ideas, and so we'll be sharing a lot of those. And then within the elementary schools, this semester we turn to, of course, more instructional supports, but also pulling out the power standards and really doing some targeted work before we head into the summative iLearn. As far as training goes, we have a small group of teachers from Prairie Crossing going through PSYOP training, which is for language acquisition. And we have continued intervention for math instruction happening. And our conscious discipline grant we received, we do have a coach on January 5th, AM for Benton Central teachers, PM for elementary teachers, and an end of the day session for the administrators. Our focus now turns to connections. And as you know, when you feel connected in your job, you come to work. When you feel connected as a student, you come to school. And we have greater possibility of making those academic successes happen with attendance improvement. So that's one of the things that we're working on. And finally, assessments. We're currently in the middle of the iLearn checkpoint number 2, and we're preparing in January to take the WIDA, which is about 100 plus students between our 3 schools. We'll take the SAT school day for all juniors March 4th. And our goal we're working toward for our grades 3 through 8 is that summative iLearn, which will have a big impact on our school grade. And we are talking this semester about doing lots of things to make sure teachers have right there on their desk those power standards, making sure that they're hitting them, making sure that parents are aware of that testing that's coming up, and that we really give our kids opportunities to get pumped up and know that this is your chance to show what you know and what you can do. And that will be in April. So looking ahead, looking back a little bit over the last 5 years with some good news, and then looking ahead to next semester.
The conscious discipline on January 5th, is that the same speaker that was here?
This is actually not Katie. This is one of her colleagues. It's Jackie, who was here in the summer.
Okay.
So
The presentation that she did, that when Katie was here, that was a good session, I thought.
yes,
She has a way of just, I don't know, communicating and connecting that was like, oh, that seems so simple, but I totally got what she was saying. It made a connection.
yes, and actually Katie is the one who will be coming back in March.
Okay.
So she'll be here for 3 days, again in our schools.
Okay.
She's hoping to work more in the classrooms, but we will have another parent night when she's here too. So hopefully she'll have an impact again.
Good.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you can stick around if you want, or you can take off. But thank you for your
Oh, I do
purposeful
have some-
planning and all the intentionality. Appreciate that.
I have some really exciting news too. Our chemistry teacher got engaged.
Congratulations.
Yes, exciting.
Very exciting.
You've got her all red.
Merry Christmas.
Everybody's been kind of now.
Everybody's gonna pay attention now to board meetings.
Oh, goodness. Do you have other projects and facilities up there?
Just a quick update on the projects and facilities. First, for the projects at the athletic storage, they're doing the backfill foundation, the CMU foundation, the pouring piers. They're going to bore in conduits for the new transformer and install a sanitary under the future concrete slab. And at Audubon Elementary, they're still doing the CMU block walls. And we've seen some pictures, and they're making progress, even though we've had some weather, but we had good weather to start with. So making good progress. And then a facility update. I mentioned this last, a couple months ago, I think. But it's time to address the future of the Fowler storage building down here, because we are building the new storage. Here's the issue with the building. It's no longer centrally located. For any of our school, it does lack climate control for proper storage and preservation. And so our plan is to begin sorting through the items in Fowler to determine relocation or disposal. And the target completion by August or September, coinciding with the completion of the new annex building. And Bruce Flynn will take the lead on that. So I just wanted you to know it's time to start sorting and purging if we need to. So hopefully we can coincide. And then once that is done and that's empty, then we will look into what to do with that. And I think right now one of the options would be to sell that. There are proper channels to go through, but we won't do that until we get a handle on things and we know that building's done.
When that comes to fruition, is that handled by a typical real estate agent or a real estate process, or does it go through that surplus auction kind of thing?
I don't know if surplus would do that, but there are certain legal statutes that we follow, and so Judd would help us with that. There's advertising so many times, and yeah.
Is that kind of how the Basel school went then too, right? Same process then?
Yeah.
So you guys have done that before.
It's like 30 days, it's only available to a certain pool of people, and
It would be the same statute that we were following, yeah. So just a heads up on that. And then I have a communication on the athletic trainer. As you know, we do not have an athletic trainer. Franciscan Health does not have one available. And Jared Hall, athletic director, sent out a survey to our athletes' families to find out what their thoughts are on having one. The survey also served to also let the families know of all the different things that play into the trainer, and so it served a dual purpose. Basically, the survey indicated that our families desire one, and that didn't surprise us, but we just wanted to make sure. So now I do realize that I don't think a lot of them knew what the costs and other things associated with that are.
Right.
But they do indeed desire a trainer. So we will continue to look for a trainer, and we may need to do that on our own, separate than Franciscan Health. But to be honest, that's what a lot of schools are moving to, because we're not alone in this situation. So just wanting you to know that the survey indicated what we thought. Confirmation is never bad, so we'll keep
Especially
working
when
on
they
that.
See the dollar amounts.
Yes.
It's not gonna be cheap.
Yeah.
Are we only obligated to go with Franciscan, or
No.
is there, IU?
We can go with other organizations,
Okay.
and the contracts that you can use to give a 30 or 60 day out. But I am gonna tell you that, I don't think that IU Health, or let's say we were in Fort Wayne, Parkview, I think they're all in the similar positions. It's just hard to find them. And then, they don't subsidize them as much, so that the trainers, you can't afford to work for the kind of money. That's why they're jumping ship and going to the schools who outright employ them.
And so when you say outright employment, it's kind of, don't we do that with one of the speech?
That's a contracted service,
Okay.
and that's an individual, I believe.
Okay.
So we could contract individually, or we could just hire them as an employee. Now, some schools are very fortunate where they have a trainer who teaches half-day. So they get some CTE money for the training class, and so that would be good. But, so there are advantages to having your own, but it comes with a cost. But I don't think even IU Health, where you see where in the third year it's gonna cost us over $70,000.
Yeah.
But we could pay for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do our own creativity in the scheduling, so.
Yeah.
So we'll move forward with some creativity there.
All right, then we have, so we're done with communications, we're moving into new business. So our E1 is our monthly consideration for the staff report and other personnel items. If I can get a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to consider the staff report and other personnel items.
I'll second.
Okay. And any discussions on that? Okay, all those in favor for approving the staff report and other personnel items, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ready? And our E2 is the consideration for the approval of field trips. Benton Central has a soil judging team that will be going to the National Land Judging Competition in Oklahoma City on May 3rd of 2026 through May 9th of 2026. If I can get a motion for that field trip.
I'll make a motion to approve the following field trip for Benton Central Soil Judging Team to the National Land Judging Competition in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, May 3rd, 2026 through May 9th, 2026.
I'll second.
Any discussions on that? Alright, all those in favor of the field trip for the soil judging team in May, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Alrighty, and then we have our E3 is the consideration for the approval of the NEOLA policies, their volume 38, number 1. We had MS, our first reads communications last month, so they're on the screen. You wanna give any?
No, they're the same. However, I do want to just point out for the future that one of those new policies is for board members to be compensated There hasn't been a change in that in years, and they have some parameters there. And next month is our reorganization meeting, and I will be making the recommendation to follow what the state statute provides us. Just wanted to highlight that and prepare everybody.
Now it looks like they could be 18 instead of 21.
Yes,
Joining
yes.
the board.
Mhm.
So. we
And
can-
there are the partisan requirements on there, so
Yeah.
a lot of new board member policies. But yes, I'm asking for approval because we had the first reading last month.
Alright, wants to make a motion for?
I'll make a motion to approve the Neola policies, volume 38.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, and all those, any other discussions on that? Okay. All those in favor for considering the Neola policies for volume 38, please say aye. Opposed, same sign. And our E4 is the consideration for the approval of the weather cancellation policy that includes the synchronous learning. Yeah, we've had to.
Shift to that.
Yes,
At least be prepared for it.
yes.
I'll make a motion to accept the weather cancellation policy / synchronous learning.
I'll second.
I'll add to the discussion piece here. That we had talked about this in November and was
Mhm.
ready to share this out after Christmas, but in light of the weather. So thank you to our teams at the schools who quickly formulated a plan. Haven't used it yet. So just to make sure, here's the current status. I had to wait till today to change. To make sure. So we have one more snow makeup day, and that can be added May 28th. So after the next snow makeup day, the one after that would be synchronous learning. And if you recall, the calendar for the next 2 years already has built-in snow days. So for the future, we will exhaust our e-learning and we will use those built-in days and we won't add at the end because we have the built-in days. But we didn't have those this year. So we had to make a good effort to add days.
Will we still be using the e-learning first, then the built-in days?
That's what most schools do, yes.
I know we did it backwards before. We'd use the built-in days, then we'd go to e-learning. We did that. Did we do that a few years ago?
Yeah.
A few years ago? Yeah. But I think using the e-learning first makes most sense.
I'm just
It always seems
surprised,
backwards to me.
Because you could have those days off. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that we will, I mean, we could always change that, but I think that was our thought was, yeah.
No, I think that makes most
Okay.
sense to call.
It's the easiest to understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
So essentially, what this is kind of saying with our current status with this approval would be, we won't be going any later than May 28th.
Correct,
That way
yes.
Parents kind of know.
Yes.
Improvements
And then
in
the next
stay.
calendar, when you see the end dates on 26, 27, that is the last day,
Yeah.
because we won't add any at the end. Yeah, good question.
All right, okay, so we just have our final approval, so all those in favor for the weather cancellation policy with the synchronous learning, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And E5 is just our approval of the updated inclement weather policy, kind of goes along with this, right? For the handbook.
Yeah, because it dictates how our paraprofessionals can work on e-learning. It will be the same for synchronous learning. We just wanted to make sure both were in there.
I'll make a motion to consider approval of the updated inclement weather policy.
I'll second.
And all those in favor of approving the updated inclement weather policy, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Our last one here is the consideration for the approval for permission to perform the year-end transfers that we do each year. Here we are, already at the end of the year.
I'll make a motion to approve permission to perform year-end transfers.
I'll second.
Okay. Did you have anything to add?
No,
pretty
I mean, it's just
standard.
normal, standard, and then next month the transfers will be brought to you guys to approve.
Okay. It really does feel like just a month ago.
I know,
Good.
tell me about it.
Okay, so all those in favor of approving the permission to perform the year-end transfers, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, and our comments for any non-agenda items? We didn't have anyone signed up, so, any other board? Okay, we will go ahead and adjourn.